lupus, which caused this very rare blood disorder, which caused the leaking in my brain, which caused the mini strokes. Okay, y'all. This is about to be a rant video if you haven't seen one. I have no notes. I'm just speaking from my cloudy mind. I'm laying in my bed. But I wanted to come on here to talk to you guys about what happened to me. If you're my friend on Facebook, Instagram stories, you know that I had a 9-day run in the hospital. Crazy. Was not able to see my family, was not able to see the outside for 9 days. I did not have COVID, so I guess that's a plus. But if you read the description, and it's all true, you can kind of see what happened and why I was there so long. So I want to talk to you guys about that, kind of share my experience of what happened. I think information is so important, and I wish I kind of had information before this, so this would not have happened. But here we go. Here's my hospital story. I'm coming on here real crusty too. My hair is crusty. I put on some lip gloss. My face is fat because I'm on all this medication, so excuse me. But a few months I had been feeling very tired, and like out of the ordinary tired. I have 4 kids, so I'm always tired, but like I was feeling so tired that I couldn't function. And so like early June, I decided to when I went into my annual physical, I decided to let them know. And so they tested, they did blood tests, and the blood test came back. They found that I'm severely anemic, and then that my blood platelet counts were very low. And so with your blood platelets, they're supposed to be, I think, between like 140,000 and 200,000, above 140,000, right? And so when they tested me, my platelets came back at like 50,000. They were concerned, but they weren't like extremely like emergent concerns, so they decided to do more blood tests. So I had to come back the next day and do another blood test, and those results said that my platelets had went up a little bit, but not significantly. So they referred me to a hematologist. I went to my hematologist, got some more blood work done. That also said that my platelets were not to where they wanted to be. So she decided that she wanted to test for other things because clearly something is going on. So she was gonna test. I was gonna come back and test. They're gonna do some like really deep looking at my blood in the microscope and all that. So I was going to come back and do those tests. But before that happened, it was on July like 8th, because the twins' birthday was on the 6th. My husband's birthday is on the 7th, and on the 8th, I was sick. I was so sick. I had my left side was hurting, like my upper left side, mid left side was hurting so bad. My joints were hurting so bad I couldn't even get up. I couldn't even get up to get in the bed, let alone get up off the couch to function. I was having really terrible headaches, so bad. And those headaches, they were so bad, like my vision changed. And so I decided just to take Tylenol because, listen, I have kids. I have to take care of my kids. So I took some Tylenol, and I felt a little better. I could do things, but I was still sick. And so that lasted for about 3 to 4 days, and then I kind of felt better. And so I was like, cool. But the issue was I still had this vision change that did not go back. So I was a little concerned. So I decided to call or text my uncle, because his best friend, which is also like my uncle, is actually he's like an ER doctor. And so I wanted to, get his opinion, like, hey, should I, let my doctor know, or should I just kind of go in to the ER? And he's like, You need to let your doctor know, but you probably should go in because we don't want those vision changes to be permanent, and we need to figure out what's going on. You could have MS, you could have anything. So I'm like, cool. So I contact my doctor, and they're like, okay, we can get you in for an appointment tomorrow. But I was just like, it was something in me was just like, let me go to the ER. I'm just gonna go to the ER. So, you know, that evening I text my husband, I get a sitter, and I decide that I'm going to the ER. I get in an Uber because this girl can't drive, I can't see. And, you know, I go to the hospital, you know, where my doctors are affiliated with. They already have my blood work and all that. So I go. Mind you, I'm not in any pain. I just can't see. And I mean, I could see, but it was just blurry, like on this side. And so, you know, I let them know what's going on. Vitals are perfect. Everything's perfect. They gave me some headache medicine, which I don't know what that was, but it was nice. So I was a little drowsy. And, you know, they get me back there. And so my uncle, you know, let them know I was coming. So, you know, I guess they already had a plan on kind of what to do. So, you know, they decide to do some blood tests. They decide in the blood test, you know, those came back and my platelets had gone down to like 28,000, which is like danger. There's bleeding somewhere. So they decide to do a CT scan. Go down for the CT scan. You know, it takes like 20 minutes. Well, I'm in there. So I'm like, okay. He's like, you have any questions? The guy who's doing my test asked me, you know, if I had like any head injuries or I don't have any questions. I don't. Like, I have no words. Now, I'm not a physician. I'm just like, you do what you gotta do. The most I know about medicine is from watching Grey's Anatomy. I think the one thing I was scared of from there, you know, they're not really allowed to talk to the patients about, you know, their test results. But, you know, he's like, oh, and I just felt really bad telling him what I did. I had to tell him. He was just scared. So that's a little concerning. He calls off work. You know, stays with me. He's got to stay with the kids, but back up. It's been a little while. I think as I'm being rolled up, like everybody's staring at me, and the doctors are like outside of my room as I'm going in there. I guess they've got these results back, and I go. The nurse comes straight in, like, we've been waiting for you. She like puts an IV in my arm. I think she gave me like, I don't know what she gave me actually. She put the IV in my arm. She gives me like 4 aspirin, and then the doctor comes in, sits down in the chair like right next to me, literally puts his hand in his head, and he's like, you know what? It looks like you've had 3 mini strokes. And I'm like, I couldn't say anything. And he's like, you're so young, we don't know, but we're gonna figure it out. So you have to go and get another CT scan. This time you have to have like contrast. You have to get an MRI so we can just confirm things, you know. Yeah, so from there, they're like, we're admitting you, you're about to get a room in ICU, but until then, you gotta go down. So I go down with the CT, and I go down with the MRI, and they both confirm, like, what it says. And they also decide, because I had 3 mini strokes, but they weren't like they were deficits, of course, but it's like I had them, and then they kind of released, I guess they would say. So they decided that I could possibly have this rare blood disorder, which also showed kind of on my test, but it's hard to diagnose. But they decided that I also had this rare blood disorder called TTP, and I will write the name for you in the description and somewhere around here, so you know the exact, but I can't pronounce it. But it's just basically where you have like blood clots or leakage from somewhere, and it happened to be in my brain, so that's what caused the strokes. So they decide, I get to the ICU, the doctors decide to go ahead and treat me for this, although they haven't confirmed that I have it, because you know, you test for it, it takes a long time for the test to get back, but if you're gonna wait, you can't wait for the test to get back, so you just are gonna go ahead and treat it. So how they treat this is plasma is attacking my body, so they have to take my plasma out of my body and replace it with someone else's. And so it's like, they call it similar to dialysis for the kidney, except it's for your blood. And so they give me like the central line in my neck, and they hook me up to this machine, and it literally just switches out the stuff. So I had to do that for 4 days, and it takes a lot. Like, it made me tired, which is good because it helped me sleep. But they wanted to continue that till my blood platelet levels went up, and so they did. So my blood platelet level went up to above the normal range, and it stayed that way. They wanted to stay above 150 for a few days, and it stayed that way. So I did 4 treatments over 4 days. They also decided that, like, my blood work also came back with signs that I do have lupus, but again, just like the TTP, the lupus is very hard to diagnose. It's a mixture of signs and symptoms and blood work. So I had all of the blood work was coming back, but I just didn't have enough symptoms. So they decided to test me from head to toe. So with the CT scan, they gave me the contrast. I had to drink the nasty stuff, which kind of lit up my body, and it showed that I had like these swollen lymph nodes. So they decided to do a biopsy of my lymph nodes. Of course, the blood test. They also wanted to do kidney biopsy, which I wasn't able to do yet. They also did like tests of my heart. They did the EKG. They also did an ultrasound, and they also had to get the back of my heart, which was crazy because they had to put me to sleep. I hate being put to sleep, but they put me to sleep to do the test at the back of my heart. That was clear. My heart was fine. So yeah, so waiting for the biopsies to come back, waiting to confirm that I have lupus, and I'm in ICU for 6 days. I finally get to go downstairs after my platelets are back to normal, or not back to normal, but are up, way past normal, and in the ICU, still waiting for the lupus results, although they're like, everything that's coming in points to lupus. So while I'm in the ICU, of course, they had already put me on like the steroids. They put me on prednisone, which is why my face is so big. I'm on the aspirin. I'm also on like an acid because the prednisone messes with your stomach. So that's pretty much what it is. And so I finally get to go home. I went home last Friday. Still not like, they officially confirmed the lupus, but I'm still like, I was still waiting for test results. So I get home, and then I have all these doctor's appointments this week. So at these doctor's appointments, of course, they're still taking blood, making sure my platelet levels are still there. They're still high, thank God. They also test for other things, because now that you're on this medicine, other things are like kind of out of whack. Like now my blood sugar level is super high. So I have to go back to the doctor to see what they want to do with that. And then also I find that, you know, I have a lupus, and my lymph nodes came back. They tested for like cancer and lymphoma, and I don't have that. But but I do have something called vasculitis, which is a part of the lupus. Like lupus affects that, which is just like the veins, where it's just the blood has a hard time running through the veins. So my official diagnosis is I have lupus, which caused this very rare blood disorder, which caused the leaking in my brain, which caused the mini strokes. So that's what it is. So that's why I had all this drama. That's why I was in the hospital. So yeah, I'm trying to think about questions that people have been asking me, like, oh yes, therapy. I have to go to therapy for my vision. Occupational therapy, because I can't drive. So in order for me to drive, I have to make sure I'm comfortable on the roads. And also, they say, I have to, still kind of work, exercise to get my vision back. They expect it to go back to where it was, thank God, between 6 months to a year. So that's really good news, because honestly, I was not expecting my vision to go back. So, and I've noticed that it's gotten better. I mean, even in the hospital, they are like, yeah, it's gotten better, just doing all the tests and stuff like that. How am I doing physically? Physically, of course, I'm having trouble seeing on my right side. I think I'm still like kind of getting over the stroke, so sometimes I do have slight dizziness. I do, stumble over my words. I think that's all a part of kind of my rehabilitation. Mentally, I'm going nuts between trying to get used to the medication I'm on, because they say it causes jitters, it causes anxiety. I have a hard time sleeping. The doctor tried to prescribe me some sleeping pills, but I'm just like, listen, I'm on enough. I don't want to add anything else. They're also trying to wean me off of the prednisone, which is good, but I'm about to be on this other medication, which I think it's different, but it's still harsh. So I'm trying to figure that out. And then for now, I have to be on them both so I can get weaned off. So I'm a little worried about that. But you know what? It's treating this condition. And I'm excited to know, hopefully once we get everything under control, once we get, my healing back with my brain, once we get, the lupus under control, making sure that it has not affected anything else, I'm excited to kind of figure out how to change my lifestyle to where I won't, or hopefully will experience less flare-ups and less severe ones, like, kind of eating better. The hard part about this is, they keep saying I'm 32. My blood test results from before, like, I don't have high cholesterol. I don't have any of those things that would cause strokes. So it's kind of tough. So trying to figure out, the right diet for myself, to kind of control lupus flare-ups, I'm kind of excited about. Oh, family history is important, guys. Apparently, when I'm in the hospital, I'm getting calls from family members, some from my mom's dad's side, and they let me know, like, my cousin has lupus. She was diagnosed 6 years ago. My grandfather's sister actually passed away from lupus a long time ago, but it's just interesting to know these things. And also kind of further helps them confirm it is lupus. And I do understand too, the doctors talked about how it's so hard to diagnose lupus. Like, it's a combination of, the right blood test, it's a combination of symptoms, it's a combination of a lot of things. And so they are very careful of just like, oh yeah, you have lupus, because it possibly could not be. And so I do know that my mom, she was diagnosed with lupus, and it ended up being wrong. She ended up having breast cancer. So I'm just really grateful for the doctors for taking their time to figure out if it really is lupus. And uh, I'm also grateful that I went in when I did too. But I'm just grateful for them from testing me from head to toe to make sure it is what it is, because you don't want to get misdiagnosed, and that comes with a lot of other things. My family is doing great. The boys are young, so they have no idea what's going on. They just knew I was gone. They were so happy when I got home. Jada was like, "Oh, I didn't think you were ever coming home," which was just so like, "Oh my God!" But she's good. We're doing good now. Just everything is changed, and it's okay. I see it. People don't go through this life being perfect by any means. People have so many issues, and so it's just about the way you handle them. And I'm gonna handle this the best way I can. I'm just excited to know that what I have is treatable, not curable, but treatable, and just gonna do everything we can to keep it at bay. I do want you guys to let me know if you have any questions. I'm an open book. Information is important. So wherever you see this posted, please feel free to ask questions, comment, and I will answer them. Yeah. So if I forgot anything, let me know. I have tons of doctor's appointments. Today actually was the first day this week that I didn't have one, so that's nice. Next week, I think I only have 3 next week. I'm sure I have to go in and get some blood work done. But yeah, I don't have to see my neurologist for a month. I don't have to see my lupus doctor for like 6 weeks, so that's pretty good. My blood test came back pretty good. I'm still seeing my hematologist just to make sure that my platelet levels are staying where they are. So yeah, I'm just really seeing my primary now for that blood sugar thing. And I am in therapy still. That helps, as in like counseling. That helps. It's funny how it's switched. Like now I think the stuff that I was talking about before was just like ridiculous. And now we're like into the situation. But anyway, another thing, like I'm in the hospital and they're giving me these pamphlets with like old people on it and talking about like strokes, and they're like testing me like every 4 hours, making sure like I don't have like my face is okay, everything's symmetrical, I can lift my hands up, I can do all this stuff, yeah. So it's a little crazy. And just to be home, like the first day home was like crazy because I didn't have nurses like checking on me, and I didn't have like the monitors on, and so it's like literally just me like, am I okay? So it was crazy, but it's cool. Still here, resting. So extremely blessed I felt during this entire time. I mean, from friends and family to people I would never expect to reach out have reached out. My uncle like flew in the day after I went into the hospital, made sure my kids were okay, made sure my husband was okay, made sure there was food at the house. My aunt, my uncle's wife, was like the first person who was like giving me encouraging words, helped me really feel good when I was those first few days when I was in the hospital. From my friends, tons of friends offered to like fly in to sit with me and the kids, and I'm like, what? Like multiple people, and I'm just like, y'all crazy doing this COVID. Like, no, it's okay. But I'm so grateful to them to know that I can reach out, um, and they would come in the drop of a hat. It's amazing. My godmother would send me prayers at literally the right moments. When my anxiety was up in the hospital, when I couldn't sleep, I would get text messages, not once or twice, like every time from her, just right on the dot, like she was just sitting there with me, and knew exactly what I needed prayer for. I'm thankful for my church family for reaching out to me. I'm thankful for my husband's family, my family, my sister-in-law, her son, and our belly, because she's got another baby in there, and our cousin and her son flew up for a week, watched my kids while I was home, took me to doctor's appointments, cooked, cleaned, they did everything. I had no worries. They left this morning and I was so sad. My son's, the twins' godmother came over all last week, the week before last, when I was in the hospital and my husband had to work, and sat and watched and played and engaged with my children. It's just, it's amazing. All the cards, all the well wishes, all the gifts. It's just, I know it has helped my recovery. It's helped me stay positive. And I appreciate it. I appreciate each and every one of you who have reached out to me on Facebook, on Instagram, I'm thankful for my husband's friends who made sure that he was okay, especially when I was in the hospital, just held him down. Listen, one of my husband's friends had a baby the same day I went in the hospital, and he was checking on Jay. So it's just amazing how amazing people are. Like, y'all, people can be like really shitty, but people also are amazing. And I'm just so grateful. Ephraim, who is the ER doctor who told me to go, who was pretty much on my team, finding out information, calling me, telling me what's going on, letting my family know what's going on, because we don't know, like, we're not physicians, we don't know what's really going on. So just really making it plain for me, telling me how to talk to these doctors, making sure that my care was great. I really appreciate him. I also still have to do the kidney biopsy. I wasn't able to do it because on the other side of my platelets being low, my platelet function, it was very high. And what that means is that, they just don't want to go in because I could potentially bleed out. So if you're going to a major organ like a kidney, you don't want to do anything to cause you to bleed out because your functions are really high. So I know I had to get like blood transfusions and stuff for that, and they're also high because of the prednisone, and also, it's just trying to even out everything. So I think the last time I got my blood test done, they went down a little bit. So I go to the kidney doctor next week. So we'll see if they want to do the kidney biopsy, which I'm sure they want to do because they still want to just continue to confirm that it is lupus. They're like, they just want to be for sure. So yeah. So let me know if y'all have any questions. Thank you for listening to this rant and to my story about this 32-year-old having strokes. Thank y'all.